Are you a knitter or crocheter with a passion for travel who's trying to decide where in the world to visit next? Me too. In today's episode, I'll be exploring destinations around the world that I think will be great for fibre enthusiasts. So grab your passport and your project bag and let's go. Hello, I'm Emma of Wander and Create with Emma. I'm a knitter, crocheter and travel enthusiast. I've been lucky enough to visit 38 countries so far in my life and multiple yarn stores around the world, but I know there's so much more to see and learn around the world when it comes to textile art. In this video, I'm going to be looking at 5 destinations that I found while doing my research for this vlog that I think would be great for yarn enthusiasts. From the rugged landscapes of Iceland to the mountains of Peru, I found that there's a rich fibre history scattered around the world that's still available for us to enjoy. For multiple factors, I don't think much international travel is going to be on the cards for me this year, but I can still dream and think about where I want to head to next, right? All of the 5 destinations I'm going to be listing in this video are places that I have never been to before. So all the information, the facts that I provide in this video are things that I have found online, and I will be putting references in the description below and in the associated blog. So if you do prefer reading or want to see a summary of this video in text form, head over to my website and you'll find the blog there. And as usual, if you have any recommendations for places that you've travelled that you think other knitters and crocheters and yarnies alike would be interested in, please share it in the comments below because I'd love to hear it. Anyway, let's get stuck in with destination number 1, the Shetland Islands in Scotland. The Shetland Islands are about a 60 to 90 minute flight from mainland Scotland and has a long history associated with knitting. In particular, you may be familiar with the Fair Isle knitting technique, the colourwork technique and the very famous sweaters that they've produced from there. Their lacework shawl designs are also very popular, and I did read that Queen Victoria herself was a big fan of the lacework shawl from the Shetland Islands. Who knew? So from the Shetland Islands you get the Shetland wool, and that wool is known for being very fine and soft, yet giving great insulation. I have been to Scotland. I've been lucky enough to go to Edinburgh, Glasgow and Loch Lomond, but I'd absolutely love to see more of Scotland, particularly the north and those islands like the Shetland Islands and Orkney. Hopefully one day I'll get to go because what I've seen of Scotland so far is beautiful. I love the cities, I've loved the landscape of the lochs. Can't wait to get back there one day. And did you know that in 2011 the Shetland wool that comes from Shetland specifically became the first non-food product in the UK to be given protected geographical status with protected designation of origin. That sounds pretty cool to me. There is also the annual Shetland Wool Week, which is labelled as a celebration of Britain's most northerly native sheep. So it'd be probably nice to tie in a trip to the Shetland Islands in line with that Wool Week. And I believe the dates for 2025 are September 28th to October 4th. So it'd be kind of autumn, fall time, enough to be wearing a knitted sweater for sure. Okay, so destination number 2 is Peru. Evidence suggests that Peru has been in the textile production for over 10,000 years, dating back to the Inca civilization. And I saw a claim online that it is one of the knitting capitals in the world, but there is another contender listed in this video. So maybe we just accept there's multiple knitting capitals of the world. Peru is also home to the world's most expensive wool, the vicuña wool. I hope I pronounced that right. The vicuña is from the llama family and it is the national animal of Peru, and it's a highly protected animal after hundreds of years of hunting in the region. The rarity of this wool is what makes it so expensive. Vicuña produce much less wool than an alpaca and actually takes 3 years to grow back their fleece after their shearing. So you can see it's a very long-term process, hence the expense of the wool. I've never touched this wool or even seen this wool to be honest, but from what I read it's meant to be extremely soft, very versatile and hard wearing. I would say that the knitwear that I would associate most with Peru is the hat or the chulos. The Andean style knitting, which is what produces those beautiful colourwork chulos, is created using 5 DPNs. Now I've never used any DPNs, not even 3, let alone 5, so to me that seems like a lot of needles to be keeping track of, but obviously the result is very beautiful and colourful, and I believe that they use the Intarsia colourwork method to create the pattern work. I'll be linking to another blog post from Cynthia Sandbrook in my blog post that goes much more into the Andean style knitting. Destination number 3 is Iceland. And this is somewhere that I would really love to go. And it is technically between Canada and the UK, so maybe I should just go home via Iceland one time. It's a popular destination for many knitters. For fibre artists, Iceland is very well known in the wool industry, especially for their unique loppy yarn produced from Icelandic sheep. Loppy yarn is made from the dual-coated fleece of the Icelandic sheep, with the outer layer being very light water resistant and the inner layer being soft and fine, creating that insulation. These are then plied together to make the loppy yarn that is available to buy in stores. Reykjavik, which is the capital of Iceland, is home to the Knitting Association of Iceland, which is a group formed in 1977 by a group of knitters who wanted to increase their income by selling their handmade loppy sweaters. And you can now buy these sweaters from their shop, which is located in Reykjavik. Iceland also has their annual festival, the Iceland Knitting Festival, which is hosted at the Textile Museum in Northern Iceland. Iceland is definitely a bucket list place of mine, but I best get saving because it is notorious for being a really expensive place to travel to, but the scenery and the landscape looks absolutely stunning, and obviously the yarn and the knitting is a bonus. Just jumping in here to say that if you are looking for travel packing tips for your knitting and crochet projects, you might want to check out a video that I posted last year where I was sharing all my tips and hacks for packing, knitting and crochet projects while I was on my year-long trip in 2023. And just one more thing, if you are looking for small, portable crochet and knitting projects to take with you on your travels, I recommend checking out my pattern collection, specifically the Journey collection, because that was a series of patterns designed specifically to be knitting projects you can easily pick up and put down while you're on your travels. Very small, very meditative knits, quite simple, yet stylish. For example, as you may have seen, I recently knit a pair of the Journey socks on my flight from Canada to the UK, so you can check that video out for an idea of what the sock pattern is like. And you can find all the patterns via my website, Etsy and Ravelry. Okay, enough of the self-promo, let's get back into it. Okay, we're not travelling too far for this next destination from Iceland, we're heading to Oslo in Norway. In my research, this was another one that came up as the knitting capital of the world, so this is the competition that's out there. However, I will say that the stats that I saw are in pretty strong support of it being a knitting capital. In Norway, 43% of all women and 30% of women under the age of 29 can knit. And to be honest, I have no idea how well that compares with other countries, but it seems pretty high to me. There are multiple yarn stores around Oslo selling locally produced wool, and in fact the Visit Oslo website has a whole map with the locations of all the yarn stores in Oslo. Apparently there are also plenty of knit nights that you could attend while you're there. There's apparently at least one a week somewhere in Oslo. And of course they also have their own knitting festival, although I actually couldn't find any details for a 2025 event, so maybe we'll have to watch this space for that one. But now I really want to go. And my final destination, maybe a little less popular and well known as the other four, but it's Kyrgyzstan. Now, I'm not going to claim to know much about Kyrgyzstan, but I saw recently that Madeline from Fruity Knitting went there, and it got me intrigued. Kyrgyzstan is part of the historic Silk Road route in Central Asia. It's a producer of cashmere yarn, with nomadic shepherd communities across the country with the indigenous cashmere goats, who have adapted to the cold climate, producing very fine, soft, well-insulated yarn. I think visiting Kyrgyzstan would be a very different experience. It's quite remote and not too much going on apart from stunning, like rugged, mountainous scenery. But I did see online that there's quite a few travel packages that do like a textile-focused tour of Kyrgyzstan, so that might be something to look into. June Cashmere is one example of a business that has tried to revitalise the fibre industry in Kyrgyzstan. The team travels village to purchase fibres from the shepherds and then sells them internationally. That's it. Has it given you a taste for travel? I may well do a part 2 in the future because I think there's many other destinations out there that would be interest to fibre enthusiasts. And as I mentioned at the beginning, if you have places that you've been to or that you recommend, please share them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for watching. Happy travels. I'll see you next time.